a high madriga of kiruv ela atzmas. He's the iron of the Yeshua Amit. And remember, that's also iron the Keser. Yesh loimash is ook in his chokhmas timor. What is iron Keser? Chokhmas timor. Shebo malubish pnimius atig. She okay nikra ayin. Shebchinas ayin atshmi. In other words, he's the iron Yeshua to the Yeshua Amit to the atzmas. Umimena nimtza chokhma bebchinas matzia. From that comes the immediate concept of the idea of Matzia. In other words, the Chokhmah Gluya comes from the Ayin is Mamish, the Ayin of the Yeshua, the Ayin of the Union of Keser. Matik, the way Chokhmah comes from there is a jump. It's a huge. All we see we got the Union of Chokhmah and Eilan Ko music, how that's happened, or Me'eva Zeba. That's called the Union of Matzia. Ukamoya Matzia she'eno yoidim me'ein bo. When you find a Matzia, you don't really know where. You don't have any Musa. Okay, now Chokhmah ain't a magish Makoira, a Pirus. Yeah, a Makoira, how it is in the Yeshua. Amit, the Yain of the Yeshua. But if he's Nimtza B'Pchinas Ha'ora Levad, they're Nimtza B'Pchinas Metzius Tova. So the fact that the Rebbe has those two things over, he says that Nimtza B'Pchinas Ha'ora Levad, V'Nimtza B'Pchinas Metzius Tova. It's also two nuances, or two svaras. First of all, it's nimtza from an inaudible, meaning that which comes from the ayin the keser is only a ha'or, the ayin of the union from seir, and even the way that produces the union from chokhmah is also not in even from say the hadroga, or he also produces him in a certain even of Yesh Mi'ayin, just like in the Yeshua Haniva, the Ayin of the Yeshua Haniva produces him, even the Yesh Mi'ayin. Therefore, even Lagabi the Ha'ora Bilvad, which is shaykh to him, he's also in from Matzia. How much more so he's in from Matzia? Lagabi Amitis Makore, well, that's in from At. Yeah, okay. So the Rebbe, if I'm going to he's B'Pchinas Matzia Bilvad, Lagabi Shtei Makoros. First of all, Lagabi the Amshocha B'Evan Shal Cyrus, and K'moy Kain Lagabi Amitis Makora in the Univan Yesh, the Ayin of the Yesh Amiti, the Ayin in Atik, how he is in Chokhmah Timor. Yeah, okay. Chokhmah Tzilas. Hagam Shenimtzo Mipchinas Chokhmah Timor. Ibayan Arek Lagabi. Yeah, therefore said the Rebbe Emes. Yeah, he's nimtza misham, and here we use the word nimtza, not nimshachet, or nimtza. That the Indian from Chokhmah is only b'derech Metzia bilvad b'shnei kilo dag. First of all, Metzia gemura legabi the Indian from Atik Makoiro, and I feel that legabi the Seyar is also Indian from Metzia, legabi Seyar. That was it. The Rebbe. That's the church of the Kasha, that how is it that he's mocker, so the church says that he's not really his mocker. The word mocker implies that the mocker has him, as the word peckles him, that the mocker has him in Kesha, and by functioning the way he's supposed to, he gives him out. So we can't really say that. And therefore the Rebbe said he's not really a mocker, those are the terrorists, even though he is, but he's not. He's only an infant. Hamtzor b'derech ein and the kesher in the middle is the concept of Cyrus. Lafi shenimtzu b'pchinas ha'ora deha'or, meaning ha'ora delas, and therefore she'ba'ein arek l'gabi chachmas timor, v'nimtzu b'zeh b'pchinas metzius dovo. In other words, not only that he comes from Hazah ha'ora, but that ha'ora ain't a be'eret l'gabi de'id, and so l'gabi that, he also comes with the Yesh Mi'ayin, the Hainu Ha'inu from Matzia. And he's adequate, he's a Matzia, Budai, B'chol Ifani Matzia, and he's coming as even, which justifies the concept of Matzia, the Hainu, he's come from the Indian of Ha'ora, Di Ha'ora, B'vad, that's the concept of Cyrus, in Fandilo. That the terms of the kasha that's Pnim Mitzatik, how come to Mokia? In the Hanami. The man goes, this whole Indian Dilu, a creature, before. In other words, an Enoch Hanami Atik is also only a Ha'ora for Isa, Ha'ora Asmis Lafi Erech, the Gabi Amitis Atzmis. From that Ha'ora, there's another Ha'ora Dilug, and even the Gabi that, it's an initial Yesh Mi'ayin, the Hanumatzi. However, we see that the Dakis here in our base is tremendous. The Sforas, Kilu, and Mishtalev, one and the other, the Mitzvahs, and the Ha'ora Gittel, it's really a very Dakistic limb, tremendous. You can see how the Sforas catch one into the other, and you've got to be very careful to be Mavdil Benev, that the whole Indian of what down and citizens, the Indian of Limud Halachas is the Indian of silence. We stated Terei Mamor, we stated Terei Mamor, through literally combing the hairs, you come to a rim. I've forgotten the pussy. That by separating the different hairs, if you're combing the hairs of all the halachas, through that you get an episode of rim. That's what I'm learning out there. You take all the spotters that are all sort of combined together, you got to separate them carefully, which are they interrelate. And Mamela says that's what we can suggest. Those are the tenets of the Kasha. However, that would be good if we weren't learning Ayin Beis. Since we are, it's very common in the Siddhas of after Azamin, Mahalik, it would have been good to say, well, we understand better what we're talking about. Long again, weiter. Oh no. We're going to see right now at the end of the chapter a whole new sort of Rashi. Says, sorry, but this really doesn't, set carefully in. It doesn't really. Now, he doesn't say that it's mufrach. He doesn't say that yesh kushiyas, atzumas al Indian there, which, put it out of all possible candidacy for a beer. No, it is a beer, but it's not a beer which is mishashi b'kol oifanim or b'kol ha'inyan. It's an Indian clothing. Or if we go more into the spotters of the Indian, then there'll still be room for a further diktuk and a further hezbollah. And in order to understand that, you're going to have patience till the end of the chapter. Now, the whole kasha, which we're being didactic now, is going to sort of go through different stages of like setting the theatre for the kasha. Like you've got to find up other, in our own group, then you'll be able to say, oh, no, that's what we wanted to ask. What's it? Shahare, Yud Gimel Tkuni Dikna, what the Yud Gimel Tkuni Dikna, there's Cyrus. Yud Gimel is Orachim, as it were. They're the Indian from Cyrus, and they're Nimshuvim Moiches Timor. So says the Rebbe, Yud Gimel Tkuni Dikna, Behechreyak, Shebohem, Meir Pchinis Mahus, Moiches Timor, Manich. Yeah, Moiches Timor, Chofetz, thank you. Hier kan man weer we've already made that clear in certain cases. Anyway, says the Rebbe that the union of the Yud Gimel Midas Horamim said they are me Moiches Timor Manish. They come from Chofetz Timor mitzad etzem madrigosai. Lo alidei also to ha'oras nivdeliyas. None of those things. Remember what are we trying to say? We're trying to say that Abo gets its savas from Mazel Noitzer. Mazel's only Imel Kumkreset. The Noitzer is a Mazel that's only a sire Bubad Ha'ora, and in them go Ha'ora, we've made it all comfortable. So the Rebbe, wait a minute, man. The infant, Mazel Noitzer is one of the Yud Gimel Midas Orachim. If you count, that's one of the Yud Gimel Midas Orachim. Yud Gimel Midas Orachim, Nim Shochim L'Chora Mahnish for the Etzem Madrege of Chofetz. ממש from מדרגות הוא. למה? מה מביא לדור הזה? So it's possible. What do you mean? By Yud Gimel Tkunei the dikna. What we say, as we see, is not just stam one of the Yud Gimel with the Sarachimim, but it's really the big, how you might call it, the big Mechutten. It's going to be the big central point in the whole the Yud Gimel with the Sarachimim, as we'll see as we go along. I said that every day, Alachoyra, Nimshik from Madregas, Chochmas Timor Mami. How do we know that? Why would I say that? Shaharei Noiga. The Yud Gimel Midas Horachimim Shahin Yud Gimel Tkune Dikno. It's the same meaning. Here Yud Gimel Tkune Dikno. But that's in from Cyrus, albeit. Emes. But he said, Al Yodo Tikun Kola Pagam and Pagamim. If not only that there's a Gilui from Moyach Timor into Chachman, he was Alidei the Yud Gimel Mizrachim. There's a lot more than that. He said even there's been pagamim. Those pagamim in some way will reach from the lower elements into and cause a niche in the earth. And I had a Esther after Inim from Gila Elakus. The Inim from Yud Gimel Tkune Dikna will be Meir into the spirit of that Gila boy, even that doesn't fix it all. All up, it will fill everything up. It's a Sivan that the mazel the vanoiser is not just a mazel but the side of the van lochera but it's a inya atzmi shehu ike yud gimel midas arachmin asher inyonim hu etzem chochmas timoah with the whole pnimiyatik shebetoichoi is nimtza and nimshach into the madregas afilu into biyah al manas to wash up and to be reichet v'chuli in the comments the mess that we make. If I'm honest, it's tikkun korban pagamim. V'aynu, so how do you do that? Mishum hamshachos or mibchinas moichas timor. That's not to stop, but that's mamish moichas timor. Not that the siders here are a chisoron. They're deal. At least to be very special siders. These are good ability to get siders. They seem to bring the whole picture out. I mean, okay, my shkasu be either a rabbi, daf kuf lamed beis. Now that's the Zoya in Pasha Nosai. Well, now there's a big section over there, Pasha Nosai, which is called the Idra Rabbah, the great shiur. Yeah, well, that's a gilui miyuchad of Seydus HaTorah, or even Shoynim Mishar Amakenes Misavim. Another dogma is right at the end of the Zoya and Pasha Azino, at the time the God comes, Istalchus of Rabbi Shimon, that's called the Idra Zutra, that's called the small, how do you call it, equality, or not equality, the smaller sheep. In the Idra Rabbah, it's written, Kol Tikunei Dikna, Loi Ishtachach, Ela Mimoicha Dereisha. All the Tikunei Dikna cannot be found, meaning that they're there, mamish in other words, that's where they are at home, that's where they belong. And Moichas Timor sends them out. When it's necessary, the Moichas Timor sends them out to Moishai. Although they're not just sided, but they have a whole new death, but they are mamish ishtachach, ela mim moicha reisha. They're found and they come out from moicha the Reisha, and Reisha means Reisha means the idea of Kesa, and this is Moicha the Reisha, what it means, Chokmastim. Well, here is the Chokmastim, Mulubish, Pnimius Atik. Since we learned, when we were Mochir, that in Chokmastim is Pnimius Atik, okay, Nimshak, Mishom, Milui, Kol, Apagom, and therefore, to be found there, that's where their real home is, that's where their real church is. Of this whole Yud Gimel. And what is Yud Gimel? What is Moichas Timor? Pnimis Atik. Now, Amira, Davki Al Yedei, these Yud Gimel Tikunim can be the Tikunim of Kol HaPagamim. Dara Yudua, Da Mitzvahs, Shorshom Migul Gelta. The actual mitzvahs themselves, they're rotten. And we saw that rotten is sharp to the union of the Gugelas, not to Chokmas Timor. This poorly, Perik Reich, do einige Alien, Maya Sham, Bukinis Machiflava, the Indian from Go Gelta, being as it is the Indian from Rotten, therefore the Oinig for Alien, Oinig or Alien is the Indian from Pnimis, Vedvekis, Betura Et, Verotzen in Yoni is what we call Chitani. It's not that we mean it's just Chitani, but we mean it's an infant Gilui Klape, the Chitani is. And another form of his colors of the Echem, and therefore in that Indian of Gugulta, being it as the Rotzen, how Inyoni is Begolui, the Indian from mitzvahs, then the Tainu Gaenin is Mayasham, but it's only Indian from Makif. The Oinig is only a Haora, and therefore it comes with the Makif. Because Miti is Indian from Oinig is Daki with the Penimi. But who begins Chitani is Oinig? Aber manches Timor, Malubisch Bepkinis Oiniger Alien, Bepkinis Pnimi. In manches Timor, the Oiniger Alien, not Peter Akif Kuval, not Peter Haora, but in even from Pnimius. Who Pnimis Oine? The Ali Alkain, Ali Deze, Mishtakein, Hapagam, Shebamaisa, Mitzvahs, Dafke Ali Deidin, from manches Timor, they're the Tainu Alien. Therefore it's able to be metaken in Yonim in the Rots. My son mitzvahs the Indian from Rots. Even the Indian from Rots, you've been mafsir, you haven't done certain in Yonim. What we do is we get back into the Oiniger Alien. We say, listen here, what is your emes real Gishmach? What is your emes real timing? He says, oh, my emes real timing is my Yitla, my Yitla, my Nishonas, so that's my emes timing. Oh, Shalom Aleichem. That's your emes Oinig, and Indian from Yidden. Okay, that's been fixed. Now we said, oh, you can't possibly look unpleasantly at your emes Oinig, your emes Nachas, your emes Oinig is the Nishomas. What do we do with the fact that since we got into the Oinig Alien, we reminded you about your Oinig Alien in the Nishomas, and therefore we'll fix up the Rotzen. Why? Because the Rotzen is just the Kitani anyway, which is Nimshach Anas Lifel. In Yonim Musiyomim, Beina Atzmis, Obadini van Oinig, that Mamish Pnimis vi Atzmias, and therefore if that's Mishkala, then the Indian from Rotzen, Kaviocho, we say we can give a new Rotzen. In other words, even it's at the Rotzen, things will also be okay. Not to touch on new Rotzen will be new Torah, which is Chassidus. In the Indian, the demand of the Rotzen, if it was there, and then so something like it, so the Rotzen will nonetheless be made. I feel that there was a from Begam. Why? Because the Pnimis Oinig, but that's what you might call the real McCoy, that's fixed it up. Like we saw it in Kuf Tzadik Gimel. The Borli Kuf Tzadik Gimel, the Gabi Hatainu Ha'atzmi, Eina Rotzen Teifus Moke. It's not that it's Bedat Chashechel Ko'era, as the Rabbi said. Eina Teifus Moke means that it's just another Indian. It's a Lonogea, Zela. Once you get into Pnimis Oinig, so then we just say, well, what's going to be with the Rotzen? So, my Yidden, Pnimis Oinig. Okay, let the Rotzen be Nimshach, Michodosh, whatever they didn't do is anyway, it's filled up. I love them so much, it's just automatically filled up. But therefore, there's a new Amshocha of the Rotzen Balavoch. That's what we saw. It's not B'derech Ein Zeh, it was a Tvisa. The Rotzen's got its Tvisa. And there's a Teini Van Oinig is much more supreme and much more in the Pnimis of the Atmos of the Eibishter. And therefore, Legabe Tayin Atmos, Ein Rotzen Tevis Mokim, okay, Nimshuk Mishom Shlichus Avein. V'gam li'yezar rotzen chitanius, v'gam li'yezar rotzen chitanius v'ayim pnimi, okay, nimshuk mishom rotzen michodos. Shezeh inyan milah agamim, and what's ein achanami. The immediate milah agamim is in the amshach of the rotzen. The rotzen is what demands certain things. And if they weren't there, the rotzen says, what's here? Evoy. So, wait a minute, let's fix it all up in the pnimis oinek, and then the rotzen will be nimshach, because in Yonah Rotzen is the Kiloi Lapei the in and out say the Chitoni. The Indian from Oinig is how this the Pnimis V'atzmis of the Atzmi. Therefore, one doesn't necessarily cancel out the other, and on the contrary, if the Pnimis V'atzmi has been clicked, as you might say, or made the connection, then almost Mamela we can cause the rotzen to be mutukan. Kilo, there's no longer any pagam in the Indian rotzen. That's what the Rebbe said. Okay, nimshu mishom harotzen mechodosh shezeh inyan mila pagamim. What we saw in that chapter, that famous chapter, Kuf Tzadik Gimel. It's really one of the remarkable chapters over here. Omnam said the Rebbe, moving me said, Yud Gimel Tkunei Dikne Meimohus V'Atzmes Bechinas Atik. That's moving that if you get into Pnimis Atainuk, then you get Mamish to Mamish Atzmes ain't safe, where nothing really matters except him and the Yid. It's an amazing thing. And remember, the oinig is so immense. The Avian just says, look here, that's my pnimis of my atmi. No matter what else I give off, it can't interfere with that. In other words, that's a famous expression. Bein kach or bein kach, bonai hein. No matter what. My sons, if I'm in there's the eating from Rotzen, with the Rotzen demands all sorts of inyanim. So we said, okay, it's all fixed up. Imam Shechanai Rotzen, Kilo was starting all over again, and they'll start all over again. Ein bayot. I wasn't with the ganze Chisson, that there wasn't eating a Rotzen. I just, had to go. I just came home with my kinder. They said, a Rotzen, a new Rotzen. Kilo, one touch, we start all over again. Kilo, nothing happened. Doesn't it touch a new Rotzen? מתחילים מחדש. I said, you give them to some man, and that may Atzmus, between Atik. Horus Atik, may be Rotzen Gamken. If we're talking about how Horus Atik, that's already there in the Rotzen anyway. Came Masha Yud Gimel 2 in the Dikna, Nivshin, Mila Pagamim, so with such a mayor by him, Beginners, Mahus, Atzmus, Atik. And he said that the Iker, that I'm Shocha, is in the Atzmus Atik, Huba Mazel Venoitzer. That is a big pelling. It's stuck in the muzzle, in the 8th muzzle, but that's a muzzle Venoitzer. What Noitzer means to guard, to keep, very called Shmira. Lintzor or Mashu is the idea of keeping or guarding. Now, we're going to see a pillar as we go along here. Well, that even for Pneumius are oinig, but ever since only me and my kinder, they come back into the Pneumius V'Atzmi, in the tiny house, in Yoni is a leave at wages in the Etzemagis. And you get back in there, somehow or another you see the, they says, oh, yeah, mine kinder, everything else, just, start a new star, start all over again, and do this at the end. Yeah, so I thought to we should do it, etc. But what's going on? So we're going to see here that that's a singing of Noitzer. But dark in the 8th, even we'll find a time why it's the 8th. Dark in the 8th of the Yud Gimel, even that Noitzer, is Meir, name is the Admir, saying so. The Rebbe's going to bring, we'll have to pause now because I've got to go on something. That Rebbe's going to bring that there's a whole union of the Kesher Elyon, which is what we find about Tzitzit. Last week we spoke about Tzitzit. This week we also talked about Kalash Kulit Chayla, we're going to do it. Kesher Elyon, but this is the race of the way Yada, Argatza, Alichas here. And the Rebbe said, you know what that is? He said, it's all Nishon Mamish you want. He said, it's all Nishon Yisrael. The whole thing of Kesher Elyon doesn't make any sense with this. The Atzmish Kasher with the Stones, he said, Ila Fila Atik, he said, Pnimi Atik. It's Yid. The Avish Pnimi of Yid. And he said he loves them so much that he makes this whole unbelievable Kesher Elyon, and that's the lesson was written by the Tzitzis, by the way, Kesher Elyon. And fairly decayed Zachem. Remember, just since the fact that he's going to the Rebbe, he's taking his pen with him to bring him into the Bar Mitzvah and tell him to Zachem. If I'm here, it's saying from Bonai it's in the sea to ask the previous Atik, and he's going to the Rebbe. And we got all the that we can bought it. All the Zachem. And in the Shira, you'll be here next week. In the Shira we'll learn next week, we'll see how it was. it's all the Yidlach. So man need all these in your chief innovating, the whole thing, better sleep in. And all the other Indian world,
So learn it in 7
yeah.
next week.
I understand it's all, it's going to the place, it's all, the Pneumisch Ratsch, yeah, it's the Yidlach. Thank good for the Yidlach and saying, we want Moshiach now, and we want the revenue. Sign the union. Scholars take me out now. And it is the place. It's too sort of complex here, all the machines. It will take another shear, or maybe another shear out. You get to it, but that's the good of it we're going to read. I bet you're going to read your Russian and you don't find almost anything. He seems to be doing all sorts of high things, and all he says, "Calls over right before the Shabbos." It's all I remember someone. One of the things when you learn this, you learn all these unbelievable Marias and something. It's all in order to teach you what I eat. Just get some idea of what it means. It's Zohar with the whole Gila, all this to teach you. It's more this is
I'm staying by Chaim.
Yeah?
I'm staying by Reb Chaim, Zebra.
You'll be staying by Chaim. Oh, careful. Wow. That's right across the road. How did the man say that?
Yeah.
Amazing. You and your boy?
Yeah, and my wife.
Oh, your wife's going as well?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Amazing. He's right across the road, up the stairs. No, I said, give him one big in. Tell him to put on a shoe with me. Don't forget. Yeah. Because we still have a very close connection. Okay. Listen, I remember once I was told, if you permit me to say, I was told him, I said, thank you about something. I helped it, done something too or something. He says, what's this? Thank you. He only talks in Yiddish. Thank you. He says, Mizanim the breeder. He said, we're brothers. So I said, you know, I hesitate for a moment. He said, du bist mein Tatens a Talmud. I said, mein Tatens a Talmud mit Mizanim breeder. He said, if you're my father's a Talmud, then you're a father. Fine. Mamish Mizanim. That's exactly what his father said. One word to Shabbos, I was sitting with a Zalman, we're learning, and just after I'd become sort of involved in the whole thing, we said, we're not to read a Polish year. And see, he'd been to another show, and he came into Zalman, and he was trying to borrow a sake, trying to persuade Zalman to lend him a certain sake. And Zalman wasn't so anxious to lend him, because you give these guys, you might never see it back, So, it was on a very nice way. I was sort of trying to drain, out of giving him the statement. But in the end, I don't think he did. I think the guy understood that it was hard to expect himself to give him the statement. He wasn't angry. He was about to leave, and he said, looked at me and Zalman, and he said, that's Ira son. He pointed to me and said, this is your son. I said, is that the case? So Zalman just never come below Zohar. He changed for a minute, and he just said, yeah. I said, yeah, the guy went away thinking that we were father and son. Wow. Here's the feeling. A couple of years ago, he said to me that thing, without knowing the whole thing, he said to me, "Is in a break."
Very good.
You're talking to me. Kollel. You're talking about loving other Yidden, it's nefesh for something. If he knows that somebody needs help in somebody he'll just give his whole day and night, and he doesn't care. That's so far as we helping the Yidden. Well, that's a very Hamish fact that you go into time too. You do more like that. So we learn together. Tell him I sent my woman's back. He doesn't like empty greeting. He said, oh, yeah, he clicks. He knows with me. You should bring the fascist Ashmu. You have to stand there and tell them something. It's all there. It's all ready. What are we waiting? I think it's permitted to say in a very nice and delicate way to say to the Rebbe, no, isn't it?
What else do we have to do?
I think we're allowed to say that we can do. Once upon a time that might not have been very difficult. Nowadays it's okay. Nowadays it's okay. So far wir sind bereit. Kunden sind bereit, aber with the whole party. But it comes to some of the other party knees. And you also show up of the Harabais. Huh? And they stayed in the city from what's it called, the famous city about the Beis Rabbeinu Shabbat. That's wonderful.
I told the children in Sivan Hashem there today. In Sivan Hashem in Beit Dagan, so I told them that she's going to come and all the shul is going to be up in the clouds and people,
People, it's different nowadays. People are suddenly. A guy called me up before in the office, he said, he's not really a feast, but there's something in the morning, in the tea. So we agreed we were going to meet in another couple of weeks about a certain Indian and I've got to fix up with him. And then I said to him I said, remember Yiddish, he wrote on a Mashiach Zolens Oisham. Mashiach should catch us out, he should get in first. I said, Ma Pirush Arab, what does that mean? So I said, Mashiach should get in first. We shouldn't really, our plan shouldn't work out because Mashiach came in the middle. I said, oh, man, Tova Manai. Today's 12th day here. There was a time to say, oh, yeah, now this way is something, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. Eh?
Yeah.
You don't feel them people?
Yeah.
It's just, oh, you're back. Oh. Okay. Good, guys. Be well. Good guys.
Saturday? What's on? It's not? Three years? Something like that? Tell me, it's about 3 years.
What was it, Sivan?
Yeah, we cannot go, you'll have to go. When your kids will become a husband and with what are people doing?
No, that's not there.
No, but the other gentleman will be pulling shorts with the Caitana. Don't have a play.